Hello, everyone. My name is Victor Montez. I'm with the Emergency Management Office, and I'm here to inform and prepare you for this year's hurricane season. In this presentation, we'll be going over key terms and facts, the hurricane season forecast for 2020, hurricane hazards, preparedness tips, evacuation procedures, safe haven, and the process for returning after a hurricane. National Weather Service key terms. The first table shows the different types of storms that can impact MacDill Air Force Base. The main characteristic that defines each of these storms is the wind speed of the storm. The bottom table helps explain the meaning between watch and warning. Tropical storms or hurricanes watch means that the storm is possible within 48 hours. Warning means the storm is coming and is expected within 36 hours. Hurricane conditions. HURCON conditions help explain the location of the storm and orientation to your local area. As the HURCON levels decrease, the closer the storm gets to arriving. HURCON 1C generally means that the outskirts of the storm have reached your location, which consists of winds of up to 57 miles per hour. The hurricane is at your location during HURCON 1E. There are no longer any destructive winds in HURCON 1R. Survey and work crews are then released from their facilities to identify damage and begin recovery operations. 2020 hurricane season forecast. Colorado State University predicted an increase of all categories of storms at all coasts of the United States. The percentage increases are listed on the right. Named storms, hurricanes, and major hurricane incidents are expected to be higher this year in comparison to past hurricane seasons. Here at MacDill Air Force Base, hurricane season spans from June 1st to November 30th, with it peaking in September as shown in the figure. Hurricane strength. Hurricane damage can vary by category. The higher the category, the higher the probability of property damage. These illustrations are just visual aids to help give you an idea of hurricane strength based on each category. These estimates are not an exact science. Rooftops can be damaged from just a tropical storm, and I've personally seen vehicles flipped from only Category 3 hurricanes. Hurricane hazards. This pie chart shows the hazards from hurricanes and the percentages of deaths from each hazard since 1963. With this information, it is important to take evacuating from the coast seriously, especially since 88% of deaths occurred from water hazards. Storm surges and storm tides. Storm surges are a normal rise of sea level generated by a storm's winds. Storm surges can reach heights of well over 20 feet and can span hundreds of miles throughout the coastline. Storm surges can travel several miles inland. Storm tides are the water level rise during a storm due to the combination of storm surges and astronomical tide. The destructive power of storm surges are large battering waves that can result in building damage and the loss of life. Potential storm surge and storm tides. Storm surges and storm tides can vary based on your location due to the area's ground elevation and location in reference to the hurricane. Take a moment and familiarize yourself with the local storm surge threat. Potential storm surges and storm tides continued. This map of MacDill Air Force Base shows that it doesn't take much to flood the base. Just a Category 1 could put a majority of the base underwater. It is important to understand that the further inland you go into Florida, the lower the risk becomes for flooding. Heavy rainfall and inland flooding. Regardless of how far inland you live, flooding can always be a possibility. It is also dependent on the ground elevation, sewer system, and the amount of rainfall received during the storm. High winds. During hurricanes, emergency responders are unable to respond and assist you. Ensure you find a strong structure to stay at during the storm away from the evacuation zones. This is one of the most important planning factors to consider before hurricane season. Tornadoes. Tornadoes are a high possibility in the right front quadrant of a hurricane as displayed in the slide. With the risk of tornadoes, it is extremely important you stay in a brick and mortar home. Mobile homes are generally not rated to withstand tornadoes and dramatically increase the risk of injury or death. Dangerous waves and rip currents. Hurricanes can produce dangerous waves. A storm that is more than 1,000 miles offshore can cause dangerous waves and rip tides. Waves can cause deadly rip currents, significant beach erosion, and damage to structures along the coastline. Avoid beach activities and structures near the coastline during hurricanes to avoid rip currents and elevated waters. Be ready. Before hurricane season, it is important to be ready. Have a plan of where you'll stay during the hurricane and how you'll get there. Identify essential items that you will need during the storm and after it passes. Most grocery stores will be short on food and water days prior to the storm. Lastly, stay informed on the progress and development of the storm and communicate your plan with family, friends, and coworkers so that other people know your whereabouts. Prepare early. Never underestimate the strength of an upcoming storm. Storms all start somewhere, so it's important to stay informed and be prepared. Family emergency plan. Family emergency planning is crucial to ensure your family's safety. Coordinate evacuation routes and meeting locations, emergency contact numbers, and family phone numbers. Plan for any special and medical needs that your family may have. Utilities should also be shut off during your evacuation. This prevents additional power outages when the power is restored after the storm. Secondary power outages are caused by heavy loads during the initial electricity startup. County disaster planning guides. Use the link on the bottom of the slide for all hazard disaster planning guides and county evacuation maps. Disaster supply kit. Items that you may need during a hurricane. Supplies for at least 14 days include 1 gallon of water per person per day, hygiene items, food items, prescriptions and first aid kit, pet care items, personal items and important documents, clothing and bedding items, cash in case of power failure, battery-powered radio with extra batteries, flashlight with extra batteries, and a cell phone charger. This list is not all-encompassing. However, it is important to assess your family's needs and plan accordingly to have a successful and safe hurricane season. Before the storm, secure outdoor objects like furniture and toys. This is done to reduce the amount of flying debris. Turn your refrigerator and freezer to the coldest settings. In case the power goes out, this increases the shelf life of your refrigerated food. Keep vehicles and gas cans full. Inventory your kit and replace missing items. Strengthen doors and windows. Fill sinks, bathtubs, and large containers of water. Filling containers provides extra drinking water, while filling sinks and bathtubs provides water to flush waste. Unplug appliances that are not needed. Turn off utilities if necessary. Limiting factors before the hurricane. Prepare and plan for the worst. Grocery and supply stores will be overrun and nearly out of supplies. Evacuation routes will be packed and dramatically increase travel time. Evacuation. If evacuated, military members may not evacuate until the order is given. If you leave beforehand, you will not be reimbursed for travel expenses. Evacuate as soon as possible when ordered. Pre-planning reduces your evacuation preparation time. Proceed to your evacuation location. Ensure your unit and family knows where you are, updated on AFPass. Be prepared for a recall once the storm has passed. Safe haven. It is important to predetermine a safe location in the event that an evacuation is necessary. Safe haven will be located outside of the Tampa Bay region, limited to CONUS, and should be able to return to base within 24 hours of recall. During the storm, if you haven't evacuated, monitor news for information. Take refuge in small interior rooms, closets, or hallways. If in a multi-story building, go to the first floor. Stay away from the windows, skylights, and glass doors. Keep the curtains and blinds closed. Do not go outside when the eye passes over. Ensure your unit knows where you are. After the storm. When returning after the storm, it is important to only drive when necessary. Stay away from disaster areas. Do not return until local authorities cleared your area. Be aware of insects and animals. Do not use the tap water. Practice generator safety. Assess and document home damage, and tell others where you are. Hurricane Reentry Program. The City of Tampa Hurricane Reentry Program is for residents and businesses in the area most likely to be evacuated during a hurricane event. The affected zip codes are listed below to include MacDill Air Force Base. Hurricane Reentry Program continued. During reentry, access is granted to those with hang tags, which are verification for those that live or have businesses in the evacuated areas. Additional hang tags can be purchased for $5. If you live in an apartment and didn't receive a tag, bulk tags for each complex will be delivered to an apartment complex administrative office. The complex administration is responsible for delivery of hang tags to each resident if the order to evacuate is given. If renting a home, you will receive a hang tag in the mail. After the storm, if you're using a generator, a transfer switch is required to prevent electrical fires and backfeeding, and should only be installed by a qualified electrician. After the storm continued, be aware of the hazards when using a generator, as carbon monoxide deaths are not uncommon during hurricane season. In 2017, Taryn Wilson from Lakeland, Florida, died in her sleep from a generator being placed in her living room. After the storm continued, generators are deadly indoors. It is imperative that you only use them outside and far away from windows, doors, and vents.
Yep, perfect.
Resources. Listed here are some links for additional information on everything from weather updates to readiness guides. For more information, contact your unit's emergency management representatives or the Installation Emergency Management Office at 828-4321. Thank you for your time and stay safe this hurricane season.